Monthly dividend checks. That's what's currently being discussed. Now, it's crazy to think that we are going back to some of the pandemic era stimulus that was sent out, but that's exactly what lawmakers are discussing, because at this time, Republicans realize that they have promised so much in terms of additional stimulus and relief that they know they have to get Democrats on board. And Democrats know they have a leg to stand on now as well, because some of the things that they proposed in the past are now coming forward. I'm going to break more of this down in just a moment. I'm also going to read an email, or I'm going to read portions of this email, some of which the person doesn't want disclosed, but this person has been correct on so many different things, and I want to explain what they're saying now. But look at this. One of the big questions I get all the time is, are we going to get a $2,000 tariff check? Well, here's the thing. President Trump has not said $2,000 lately. He's talked about a tariff dividend, talked about a tariff refund, talked about additional relief, but he has not said the words $2,000 tariff dividend check. I want to play you what he said the other day, though. Listen to this.
Projected to be the largest tax refund season ever, and we're going to be giving back refunds out of the tariffs because we've taken in literally trillions of dollars, and we're going to be giving a nice dividend to the people in addition to reducing debt.
Did you see we're going to be giving a nice dividend to the people? He's not talking about a check now, okay? But it doesn't mean they're not going to do that. But he's talking about a dividend, not $2,000, not $1,000, a dividend. I want to keep playing this though. Listen to this.
We, as you know, I inherited a lot of debt, but it's peanuts compared to the kind of numbers we're talking about. So we're going to be making a dividend to the people, and additionally, we're going to be able to reduce debt. And as time goes by, over the next 2, 3, 4 years, those numbers are going to go up. And I believe that at some point in the not too distant future, you won't even have income tax to pay, because the money we're taking in is so great, it's so enormous, that you're not going to have income tax to pay.
Okay. That is key, that you're not going to have income tax to pay. More than 50% of the American people do not pay any income tax. Okay? In 2022, out of all the refunds that were sent in, 68% of the refunds resulted in 68% of the taxes that were sent in, it resulted in 68% of those people received a refund. Okay? Now, I want to read something to you. Listen to this right here. Somebody wrote to me, and again, this person was right when it came to, just name a few, President Biden's health being hidden. Okay? This person, and I don't even know if this is a male or a female, who this is. Okay? I have no clue, but, and again, I just want to thank you for, first off, this person, if you're watching, which my guess is you are, and for all those that do send in tips and kind of some insight as to what's going on, especially out of Washington. But this person was right about President Biden's health. This person was right about, what was the other one? President Trump getting no tax on tips and overtime. That was discussed even before, or he mentioned it, or she mentioned it, even before President Trump really started pushing it, that this was going to be in there. And there were some other big things as well. But this is what this person wrote. This person writes and says, "Get ready for monthly dividend payments. I don't know when this will be coming out, but there are talks of issuing dividend checks to working class Americans similar to the way the 2021 child tax credits were issued. Half of the refundable tax credit was issued in 6 monthly installments, and the rest were issued once the tax return was filed." They go on and say that not only is that possible, but there's already discussions being had about expanding the child tax credit to make that a monthly payment as well. But in doing so, it would also mean only one dividend payment would go out per household, and it would not include dependents. It says Currently, the child tax credit is $2,200 per child, but there have been talks of increasing an additional $200 to $2,400 and making that a 12-month payment, or go back to 6 months. And so really we ramp up the payments. Was it June, July, August, September, October, November? No, it's July, August, September, October, November, December. So those 6 months. If that were to happen, people would have so much money leading up to the holiday season, especially getting a check in October, November, and December. That would be critical because that would push more money back into the economy. That would be huge in terms of stimulus. Now, this is what this person's saying. The only issue with monthly payments is that lawmakers believe this would be ripe for fraud, and lawmakers would prefer a larger increase but no monthly payments. So instead of going from $2,200 to $2,400 and making it either fully making the full $2,400 a monthly payment, or making it only 6 months, and so you get, what is that? 6 months of $200, and then you do your taxes, at the end of the year, before April 15th, and then you get the additional, $2,200 then. But this person's saying that lawmakers would prefer a larger increase. Now, how does that tie in, and how does that benefit people that don't have kids? Well, here's the thing. We have already seen certain things put in place. So people that have children, they are getting an increased child tax credit this year. $2,200 this year. And I believe $1,700 that is refundable. So even if you don't make any money, you'll still get $1,700 instead of the $2,200. So it's still something. But what they're discussing is it would be easier once this stuff is in place. So the child tax credit, it would be easy to go to Congress and say, we need to increase this to $3,000. $3,000 per child. That would be a massive increase. And you could take some of the dividend revenue and we can put it towards that. But here's the reason why this is big. Okay? Lawmakers like tax credits. This is tax relief. This isn't new spending. This is tax relief. That's what it is. So a refundable tax credit, okay, that would be much easier to sell to many of these Republicans. But increasing the amount would be easy to sell to Democrats, so it would be a bipartisan bill and it would get done pretty quickly. That's at least what we're hearing. Here's the other thing. A refundable tax credit in 2026 is more likely than anything else, simply because it's cheaper than mailing checks. People have to go and file their taxes. When they file their taxes, and again, we can phase all this in instantly where it's $2,000 per household, $3,000 per household, whatever it may be, right? We can phase it in, or it can be instantly, $3,000. According to reports, it would likely be phased in, starting with about $1,000, and then it would go up as tariffs increase over the years. So that's that. Here's the other thing. We can modify the numbers. Based off what we're hearing, we can adjust the numbers to make the $2,000 figure work. Where it's, let's say you got a family of 5, right? You got, the 2 adults, you got 3 kids, family of 5. Well, if you got 2 adults, and let's say that's, $600 per adult, that's $1,200. And then you got $800 that could go to the kids. Or let's say $250 per child. So essentially you get, $1,950 for a family of 5. Here's the reason why this is interesting, okay? They are now discussing looking back at what worked during the pandemic and how not only did that the child tax credit, that lowered dramatically the amount of children in poverty, okay? The amount of children that were starving and were experiencing hunger, the amount of homelessness that we were receiving, okay, that we had at the time. So it was substantial. That's what lawmakers are looking at this point. And again, I don't know how many lawmakers, but based off the email, just says, I don't know when this will be coming out, but there are talks of issuing dividend checks to working class Americans, similar to the way that they did the 2021 child tax credits. The key here is also working class Americans. So is this only going to go out to people that are currently working? And if it is, how exactly is this going to play out? So we're going to see, but the reason why I'm bringing this to you today, number one, I think this is the most likely outcome. I think it's going to be difficult to send a $2,000 check because when they did it last time, there was so much fraud as well. There was a lot of scams out there. People were losing money right and left. Yes, it helped out millions and millions of people. But again, the Trump administration is trying to figure out a way to eliminate all the fraud. And according to experts, the number one way to reduce the fraud is to ensure that every single person that receives this tariff dividend check is only receiving it because they filed their tax return. So we'll see what happens. But as of right now, that's what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.